Now, one of the things that I have noticed in some of the videos that I have watched on atheist uh, counter religion discussions is a hyper focus on one particular stream of a philosophy, and that is the stream of philosophy known as logic. Well, here's the problem I find with many of those religious discussions with these atheists is they make a grave error in their argument in that they're discussing the wrong element of philosophy. Anytime you're talking about religion, you are getting into a realm of topic in the subtopic categorization philosophy called the philosophy of God or the philosophy of the deity. Now, people like Richard Dawkins, being the most famous one that I know of at the moment, in traditional academia, has made this fallacy. Because you cannot see it, because it cannot be 100% proven, means it therefore must not exist. That is a discussion in the philosophy of logic. That is not how it works when discussing the philosophy of God. It's not that it doesn't exist. It's how can it exist and what potential ways can it manifest. And that is the error that many atheists delve into when discussing matters like this. And just as a side note, I've heard people talk about this concept of street epistemology when talking about religion. That is an error in of itself. Epistemology itself just is a theory of knowledge, an exploration of how you come to certain things. That does not mean that the end result is invalid or valid. That just means an evaluation of the process. Thus, when you get to a conclusion, using anything in the realm of epistemology, outside of has this process made sense, is not within the realm of the whole concept. It's kind of the idea of rationality. But not everything in philosophy is going to be rational. Let's point this out with one of the most basic elements when discussing philosophy. It's the whole meaning of the name of the subject. When you distill it down to its most basic meaning. Unlike a lot of other subjects, it literally means the love of wisdom. So a lot of these atheists are not really being wise in their approach. And I can see where they're wanting to come from, but it is disingenuous in the approach being made. See, I come from a religious background myself. I am religious. And I can hear arguments from non-religious folk just as you do religious folk. But when I'm hearing something about philosophy and the approach is erring into an error-ridden zone, it should be addressed. And it should be addressed kindly. And I'm going to name the major ones that YouTube channels that I've seen do this. And it's not to say their opinions are bad, but they're discussing an area that they have no expertise in. You have an experience that does not necessarily equate to expertise. Let me point out why I'm going to say this. Expertise is this idea of mastery of something, which can be gained from experience and or from education. So a lot of them don't have the formal education element, and they have a lacking of another element, the experience that drives into the expertise. Now, when I was raised Episcopalian, there was something about the way we love to discuss things that delved into this practice of evaluating things from many different perspectives, even self-examination. But when I went to college, even though I don't have anything but an associate degree in the two fields that relate to this topic, I have some formal education behind my belt. I have an AA in humanities and an AA in social and behavioral sciences. So I'm looking at how these people are discussing things. I'm like, this is a weird, off, in a little error tangent here on how they're getting to a point, and another error tangent there. And I'm like, really? I'm only got an associate degree and I'm finding out these errors? And I hate mentioning the YouTube channels because I really don't dislike them. I think they have some real good points, but it's when they delve off into certain areas that you have to look at it from a serious philosophy perspective. And it's not always fun to do that. And many people who watch their videos may not have those skills to evaluate uh, that properly. I know darn well they don't. And it's not because I dislike them. Like I said, it's that formal education element and lacking expertise. So, like, I believe it's genetically modified skeptic is one. Mr. Atheist being another. Telltale. They all get into this one error that I'm discussing. And those are the ones that I've noticed it in. I don't watch a lot of atheist media. And it's not because I don't dislike him. It's just, I really don't know that many of them. But I got interested in watching these ones because I saw some other things about controversies of like televangelists and so forth, and I'm like, well, that makes some sense. But then I started seeing how they were jumping the gun with a few other things, and then actually using the wrong methodology to actually address certain things. If you actually look in my my library here, I have things all the way from Greek plays to modern business course textbooks. So it's not like I'm not looking at things. Along with other things, you see there's a mess in the background, but it's something that we should expect more of from people who are professing to know what they're talking about by their experiences. Experiences are one thing, expertise is a different thing. Expertise can come from a combination of experience and education, but it's never exclusively experience without justifying it by quality. So, when I'm looking at their discussions, I'm like, this is going off the rails at times. There's a lot of times that they're on point. But whenever they go off the rails, I'm like, what is going on? And I have seen it happen a few times. And it's never something I like to mention. I mentioned it once on a Telltale video when they brought up street epistemology, and I brought up that they're using the wrong tool to discuss that matter. That is something I know I tried to address. And I don't know if it was addressed properly, if they received it the way I intended it to, but it seemed like they understood where I was coming from. They did get a reply. And I'm hoping that they kind of got the gist of what I was trying to point out. Now, that being said, discussing religion, whether it be atheist or between other religions, is always going to be tough, no matter where you are. Even within Christian circles, it's tough. So have a nice day.